If you ignore the random glow in the corner of this video, I think it'll go better for everybody.
The glow is definitely not an alien, don't question it.
The American dream. Working 40 hours a week at a job where people yell at you because their fruit is too expensive. And you barely make enough money per hour to buy a Starbucks, but you need the caffeine to get you through the day, so you cave. You go when you stand in line at Starbucks and you can feel everyone's eyes judgmentally staring at you thinking, ooh, what a latte-sipping millennial. If only she put her money in a jar and saved it up, she could buy a house in 3 years. And then they walk away scoffing, and you crumple, ashamed, but you cannot break the crippling caffeine addiction that has ensnared you since childhood.
By living wages, I mean more than the wages of a bare subsistence level. I mean the wages of a decent living. Signed, Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Guys, in America, minimum wage workers have it rough. They're judged, mocked, belittled, and other synonyms. They work super hard, and they were the ones risking their lives at the height of the pandemic. They put up with way too much to make $7.25 an hour. I also see a lot of people acting like the minimum wage is supposed to be like the smallest amount of money someone could possibly be paid to barely survive. Like, no, the minimum wage is supposed to be the wages of a decent living. It's supposed to be the wages where you can get, not just survive, but thrive. The way I hear some people say it, raising the minimum wage will be the end of American civilization. But the gas prices, but flipping burgers, but my freedom. This is Orwell's nightmare. The minimum wage was established so that everyone in America could have a solid financial basis, a foundation to stand on, and on that foundation they could build up the building blocks of liberty, happiness, etc., etc., instead of drowning in poverty and struggle and stress and anxiety and all the many problems that come with that. If everyone in the country has a solid financial foundation, this raises the quality of life and aids everyone in their pursuit of happiness. Well, that sounds like socialism to me. No, I don't like socialism. Well, you know what they say. It really is a slippery slope. First you've got the $15 minimum wage, and then it very quickly slides into authoritarian dictatorship and the end of all freedoms forever. That's definitely how that goes, yep. The trademark warning sign of a rising dictatorship. Basic human rights.
The historian in me gets angrier every second.
The current minimum wage in America is $7.25 an hour, which, if working 40 hours a week, will leave you well below the poverty line. How about we re-examine that FDR quote?
By living wages, I mean more than the wages of a bare subsistence level. I mean the wages of a decent living.
The wages of a decent living should not cause someone to fall below the poverty line. In Missouri, where I live, the minimum wage is $10.30 an hour. $10.30 an hour is not enough to afford a 2-bedroom apartment in Missouri. The minimum wage would have to be $16 an hour for that. And we're lucky. Our minimum wage is higher than the federal average, and our cost of living is actually lower than the federal average. For example, Kansas City, one of the biggest cities in Missouri, has an 8% lower housing cost than the rest of the country, on average. Our counterparts in Kansas are making $7.25 an hour. And in Kansas, they have a pretty similar cost of living. However, although minimum wage workers in Missouri do make quite a bit more money than their counterparts in Kansas.
Yes, I know I'm mispronouncing Missouri and Kansas, and yes, I know it's annoying, but I couldn't stop.
The few jobs in my town that do offer $15 an hour, the few entry-level jobs in my town that offer $15 an hour, like Target, are constantly bombarded with job applications, and it takes months to hear back from them, if they ever call you back at all. Oh, but come on, stop complaining about the minimum wage. I hear a lot of conservatives and older folks say, just pull yourself up by the bootstraps and stop eating so much avocado toast. Well, if you look at the data, the statement that I just made in a horrible accent is totally, completely, and utterly false. You've probably heard that the minimum wage in the 1960s was actually worth more than it is today, and that's true. The $1.60 an hour minimum wage in the 1960s is equivalent to around $11 today. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps? Well, whomst amongst us hasn't heard the horrifying cautionary tale of the burger flipper? Be careful, young Padawan, you must be careful, you mustn't go to college, or else you shall flip burgers until the day you die in a vat of boiling hot French fry oil. I bought into this trick like everyone else. I got a minimum wage job so that I could save up for college. Whomst? Consider this. If I, living in Missouri, with a higher minimum wage than the federal standards, work 25 hours a week, which is the max that a minor is allowed to work, until I turn 18, I will still not have nearly enough money to pay for, 1 year of college. And that's only if I save all my money and don't buy anything. And given that I have ADHD and online shopping is a fantastic hit of dopamine, I doubt that that's going to happen. So if I want to go to college, which I do, I will have to start off my young adulthood life in massive debt. Yay! The truth is, the traditional way of pulling yourself up by the bootstraps, i.e., getting an education, is becoming more and more inaccessible and undesirable. High schoolers go through tremendous stress trying to pad out their college applications. There's so much pressure to be involved in every extracurricular and to get a 4.0 GPA or higher and take every AP class and start your own business and basically give up your entire life at the altar of the goddess of college. Then, if you do get in order to get your freaking bachelor's degree, you're going to have to pay around $103,000 on average, which, what high schooler, beyond the children of extremely wealthy parents, has $103,000? And I know that's for 4 years and not up front, but still. The cost of college has gone up 161% since 1987. I found this great article on MarketWatch that explained it really well. Getting a college degree was so much easier for my parents' generation and even easier for the previous one. Oh, and the stats from the MarketWatch article are from 2016. It's only going up, baby. Gotta have this for the direct quotes. A student making a part-time minimum wage salary could pay for 106.5% of the University of Central Florida's cost in 1987, while an equivalent job would cover 68.2% in 2016. If this part-time salary is dedicated entirely towards school, in 2016 a student would need to find the way to pay the additional $19,648 that the part-time salary doesn't cover. With this degree now in hand, the average salary for an early career, college-educated worker in the U.S. saw a 2.3% increase between 1987 and 2016, from $49,406 a year to $50,556 a year. Assuming these early career salaries grow at an average of 3% annually, slower than the rate that college costs grow, by the way. Graduates of the University of Central Florida in 2016 will need approximately 4 years and 9 months more time to pay off their student loans than their peers from 1987. The cost of college is increasing by 4.9% each year. Yeesh. So the statistics that I just read you were from 5 years ago. So, while the value of the minimum wage has pretty much stagnated since the 90s, the cost of college admissions has gone up nearly 200%. Each year, it gets harder and harder and harder to pull yourself up by those bootstraps, and unless you happen to be born into fabulous wealth, the American dream gets less and less and less likely to come true. The greater and greater economic disparity between the rich and the poor in this country just makes it pretty much a pipe dream. Is that what we want our country to be? A few people with a crap ton of money hoarding it all for themselves while everyone else struggles? That's not what I want it to be. I hope that's not what you want it to be, but that is the direction that we're going. Oh, and college is just the beginning of the madness. It's not like getting a college degree is the immediate ticket to your dream job, the way high school guidance counselors make it sound. In 2020, 162,000 people with a bachelor's degree were making at or less than minimum wage, which means these people paid their way through 4 years of college to continue to make minimum wage, which, getting these minimum wage jobs, you don't even usually need a college degree for. These people paid bank to get an education and are still living below the poverty line. In fact, 53% of college graduates are either unemployed or employed somewhere that does not require them to have a degree. What? That's more than half of college graduates. This is crazy, guys. This is absolute madness. It basically flies in the face of everything I've been told about college and my future, and it's just the beginning of a deeper, darker hole. Want me to ruin your day? 'Cause I recently learned a fact that ruined my day. Alright, here it is. Did you know that disabled workers are legally allowed to be paid less than minimum wage? It's nerd law time. Characteristics Section 14C of the FLSA authorizes employers, after receiving a certificate from the Wage and Hour Division, to pay sub-minimum wages, wages less than the federal minimum wage, to workers that have disabilities for the work being performed. Section 14C does not apply unless the disability impairs the worker's earning or productive capacity. So if your disability impairs your productive capacity, you're allowed to be paid less than $7.25 per hour. $7.25 per hour being not even enough to take someone out of poverty. And we are allowing disabled workers to be paid less than that? Why have I never heard of this before? Why is nobody talking about this? This video is essentially just me getting progressively angrier the more and more research that I do. You see, I came into this topic with, no knowledge on minimum wage issues. I just knew that it probably should be raised. I just didn't have any reasoning to back that up. And then I started doing research, and oh boy, I just get so angry about the way how bad we've allowed it to get. And everyone's getting mad. Everyone is filled with minimum wage rage, and pretty soon it's going to boil over.
I'm a student of history, guys, and we all know when the working class gets upset, bad things happen.
Like I said, I came into this mostly blind. I knew stuff was unfair and getting unfairer. Research is dangerous, kiddos. You might realize just how unfair the world really is. And that's not even touching on the race and gender disparities. For example, according to payscale.com, a black woman would have to work 2020 2.2 times over in order to make the same amount of money as a white man, on average. And we all know nobody wants to redo 2020 2.2 times. The disparities I've mentioned have essentially everything to do with raising the minimum wage. Raising the minimum wage will pull a lot of people, hundreds of thousands of people, out of poverty and give them the opportunity to live a higher quality and better life. Workers will have better morale and be more motivated. Racial, gender, and other minorities will also benefit a lot, a lot. This country right now is set up to make the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and any reversal to that trend is very welcome in my book. I want people to be happy. I want people to be safe, financially secure, and healthy. In other words, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if you disagree with that, well, I guess you're just un-American. But seriously, since when did everyone just decide that to be American was to just accept this twisted system where billionaires get more and more billions and people can't feed their children? That's not freedom, guys. That's not. Every human being deserves a life without violence and poverty. They deserve life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness because we all know that mere survival is not enough. Let's not delude ourselves, people. Don't delude yourselves into thinking that it's okay or justifiable that so many people in this country are just waking up every morning and struggling to get by. It's not right. Let's open the door. Let's build a platform that they can stand on so that they can pursue happiness. I think we can do it. Maybe I'm way too much of an optimist, but I think we can do it. I was going to talk about a lot of other things in this video, but it's very complicated, and so I think I'll stop for now. I want to make a second part for this, more specifically addressing the counter-arguments, saying why people don't think we should raise the minimum wage, and seeing how we can refute that to help convince people. But for today, you've reached the end. Oh my gosh, I have a sign-off now. I mean, I just decided to have it, but it was in the last couple videos, but I like it, so I'll keep it. This is your reminder before you go to respect women, respect pronouns, and respect Bill words because he is a princess. Bye!